What's up, Whittier?
Welcome to What's Up, Whittier, a homegrown podcast.
A podcast to showcase Whittier's businesses, personalities, and hidden treasures.
All right, everybody, producer Christine here with this week's community corkboard announcements. It may sound a little tinny in here, but I am recording in the WIPA radio room here at the Poet Gardens. No, the Poet Gardens is not open yet, but we have 4 walls in here, and I'm just trying to test out the acoustics. So obviously, we have work to do. So I am going to just go through the community corkboard announcements. And I'm going to record these Fridays, so Friday mornings which is the next day after we record the podcast episode. And it's going to be at the same time as the Uptown Whittier Farmers Market, located on the corner of Philadelphia and Bright, right next door to us. And that takes place every Friday from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. And if you are interested in becoming a vendor, you can email farmersmarket@whittieruptown.org. Like I mentioned in our last couple of episodes, it's my favorite time of the year. It's summer, so look forward to seeing all of you in the community at the 2019 Summer Concerts in the Park, put on by the City of Whittier Parks and Recreation Department. Shout out to Greg Alanese and everybody over at the Whittier Parks and Recreation Department. And there are too many people to mention. I should probably just have a list of everybody, but there are just too many. So again, this is the 2019 Summer Concerts in the Park series. This will take place on Mondays at 7 p.m. at Central Park, 6532 Friends Avenue, and Thursdays at 7 o'clock at Parnell Park, 15390 Lambert Road. So I'll include all of the dates for the bands that are in the concert series in the description, but I'm only going to, mention the ones as they come about. So the first one's going to be June 24th. That's a Monday, so that means it's going to be at Central Park, and that'll be a Disney tribute band. I'm even wearing a Disney shirt today at work, so I love Disney so much. I will definitely be there, and I hope to see you there as well. So now on Thursday, the first concert in the summer concert series at Parnell Park will be Stevie Nicks' Illusion, which is a Fleetwood Mac cover band. I love Fleetwood Mac. I love Stevie Nicks, so I'm sure I'll see you there too. So let's remember that parks make life better, and if you're interested in attending or if you'd like more information, call 562-567-9450. Again, this is a free event for the community in the Concerts in the Park series, so bring your lawn chair and your blanket. However, pets, barbecues, alcoholic beverages, and smoking are prohibited. On Saturday, June 1st, join the Whittier Uptown Association as they put together their annual Uptown Whittier Car Show. Can you believe it's already next week? Time just flies. So you can go to the car show. It's going to be along Greenleaf and Philadelphia Avenue. And here's some information about it. Free admission to the public, and that includes live music. There'll be different vendors. You can enter in different raffles, purchase event t-shirts, and more. So again, this is open to all makes and model vehicles. If you're interested in entering in your vehicle, it is $45. So please, call over the office at 562-696-2662. You can speak to either Cecilia or Olivia, both wonderful ladies who are in the Uptown Association office, and they can get you registered, your car registered. There will be trophies awarded in 20 different categories. So just to remind you, in that $45, you also get your event t-shirt and a dash plaque for your car. All right, neighbors, I look forward to seeing you out there at the car show. On Thursday, June 13th at 4 p.m., join Claudia Zambrano as she has a ribbon cutting at her Farmers Insurance office, located at 14831 Whittier Boulevard, Suite 101, which is right next to Ralph's on Whittier Boulevard. So join Claudia Zambrano and her office as they officially have a ribbon cutting to commemorate the opening of her office. Enjoy a mimosa bar, snacks, and music, all while networking with other Whittier locals and business owners. Again, this ribbon cutting is put on by the Whittier Chamber of Commerce. All ribbon cuttings are free and open to the public. So I'm for sure going to that because, fun fact, my sister works at that office, so shout out to Heidi. And after that, I'll definitely be running over to the leadership and communication workshop that I'll be hosting put on by the Future Leaders of Whittier. I am a founding member of the Future Leaders of Whittier. I'm the Director of Communications, as well as Fernando Lopez, who's the President, Courtney French, who's the Vice President, and Joshua Reyes, who's the Director of Philanthropy. So again, please join us. It's a really cool networking event. It's going to be Thursday, June 13th at 6 p.m. So the location is still TBD. We're trying to work out with some different partners. So we'll let you know when that is. But you can go to whittierleaders.com and you can register online today. Thank you so much for listening. It looks like that's all I have for you this week in the community Corkboard announcements. And I'll post some more coming up. So you're really going to enjoy this episode if you really want to get a handle on what's going on in the city. Oh, we do talk about the State of the City address in this podcast. So just to let you know what that is, annually the Whittier Chamber of Commerce and the city administration, they partner up to talk about, the state of the city, basically. It's a cute little $20 breakfast thing, and oh, how funny. I'm like recording. Oh, hey, there's the Dude Be Nice people. I'm recording on the podcast, and I can't hear them. Yeah. So this is cool. Anyway, shout out to you guys. You guys can hear on the podcast. That's really cool. That was cool. At random. I was like, who is back there? I'm going to cut all this out probably. I'm probably not going to cut it out. Shout out to the Dude Be Nice team and Bethany from Wander Creative and cool people. All right. This is what it's like, I guess, recording out of here. Check it out. Come over. Drop on by the Poet Gardens and WIPA Radio. If you want more information on how you can become part of WIPA Radio, you can go to www.wiparadio.com. But like I was saying, let's track back. I just spoke to Katie Galvin Servitovic from the city of Whittier. She actually sent me a DM on Instagram, and she told me that the State of the City address is available on YouTube. So go to YouTube, type in State of the City 2019, and check it out for yourself. But shout out to Dude Be Nice. So now let's go backtrack. I'm all over the place. Shout out to Dude Be Nice. Shout out to Wonder Creative. Thanks for kind of walking by and dropping by. But also, just to let you know, you can also drop by. If I'm over here, wave. If you want more information, go to www.wiparadio.com. If you're a podcaster, if you have musician friends, if you have anybody who's interested in producing your own content, drop me a line. Go to info@wiparadio.com. So, okay, I think that's my plug with that. And if you guys are interested in anything else, if you want to send more information about the community Corkboard, you can email Christine at whatsupwhittier.com, and I'll definitely get back to you. Don't forget to follow all of our social media. You can follow What's Up Whittier at What's Up Whittier on Twitter. And no, you can't. You can actually follow What's Up 562 on Twitter. You can follow at What's Up Whittier on Instagram and on Facebook. I'm so distracted. There are people everywhere. Okay, we'll have to. This is a growing pain. We're going to have to work through this. I normally record like in the solace of my bedroom, but this is a different experience. So again, more information, follow WIPA Radio at WIPA Radio online for more information and to stay updated on when the brewery is opening. So, I hear different stuff all the time, so hopefully we'll be able to check that out soon. Did you know that I'm a mobile notary? In addition to managing an internet radio station and being a part-time assistant for friends, I am a mobile notary. So you can go to @thesingingmoon, or you can go to christinesingerluna.com to learn a little bit more information about notarial services. If you need a realtor, you can go to @RemoTheRealtor, go to RemoTheRealtor.com, or you should follow @Team Remo the Realtor. Remo's really built a great culture within his team, so everyone's awesome. I love everybody. Shout out to Mary, Marisol, Kathy, everybody over there. If you are interested in learning more about ADUs, additional dwelling units. So if you're interested in learning more about that, you can contact J2 Architects, which is the Uptown Whittier architectural firm located in the Bank of America building. Go to j2architects.com. You can find a phone number there and you can reach out. I believe Jesse, you would want to speak to Jesse the architect from our wonderful podcast. So don't forget to, again, follow all of us on social media. We look forward to connecting with you. Bye, everybody. You're really going to enjoy this episode. Take care. Bye-bye.
What's up, Whittier?
Dun, dun, dun.
This is great. Christine's filling in for me, and I'm filling in for Jesse today until he gets here.
Whittier, welcome.
Yeah.
What's up, Whittier?
So today we have a really special guest, one of the biggest guests here in the city of Whittier, our very own mayor. So Mr. Joe Vinatieri, welcome.
Happy to be here. And what's up, Whittier?
Yeah, I always get a kick out of it when you say "What's up" whenever I show up at City Council. So I appreciate your support, Mayor Joe.
I'm giving you a little press there.
all the time. So thank you again, and also thank you so much for letting us record here in your conference room at Bewley, Lasselby, and Miller.
Of course.
Yeah. And this is the second time we recorded in here, right, Remo?
Yeah, we last month we were speaking with Fernando.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, so we got to
Cool.
enjoy the view. I mean, we opened the blinds. I think Fernando brought a couple beers. I mean, it was great.
I
not
don't
so
think
much.
I don't think I would do
Well,
that.
it was water.
Yeah, there you
we
go.
pretended.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, welcome. Today's episode, we were hoping to get an overall update of what's happening in the city. I know there's a lot of things from what's happening on Whittier Boulevard, what's happening in Uptown, and just everywhere around. So, so if you'd like to share kind of
Yeah,
what's happening
well,
or anything else you want to share.
Happy to do that. We, as you know, we did the State of the City this morning,
Yes.
and What's Up was there.
Yeah, What's Up, Whittier? We recorded it live, so people who weren't able to access or to go, they were able to watch in. So we got some pretty good feedback, which I think people will be really excited about this episode because...
So we can tell you the rest of the story.
Boom,
There you go.
boom.
The juicy stuff, the good
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. So we had that this morning, and that was it was good. It was just people need to know, and I made a comment I think this morning, and Christine, I want to be really clear with everyone because sometimes I feel like I'm too much of a cheerleader, and when there's a lot of stuff to cheer about, we're cheering, but there's also times where there's issues. And so I have to make sure that when I'm talking to people about what's going down, that I'm balanced. And most of the time we have, it's 80% good. It's not always 80% good. And so I want to make sure this morning when I talk that I let everybody know that, we do have some challenges. The challenges, we got the issue of our PERS and our deficit situation with our city budget, which we never have.
Can you explain what PERS is? We might talk about it a little more.
Yeah,
but...
we'll get into it. Yeah, it's Public Employee Retirement System.
Okay.
And it's the retirement system that we're a member of. And so we make contributions as well as our employees to it. And it's for retirement. And there's been some major issues with PERS. And so we're now feeling the detriment of that, unfortunately. So we got the city budget issue. We've obviously had the homelessness thing, and I shouldn't say thing because and I couldn't say it this morning, obviously, because you don't have time. But homelessness has various phases, faces to it, and there's women and children. There are mentally ill people. There are drug and alcohol addicted people. There are vets. There are newly emancipated. No longer minors, but they're hit 18 and they're out of shelter. There's college students now. There's just a whole panoply of different face of homelessness, some of which we can really deal with at the local level, but some we can't. And that's very frustrating to me. So I was saying challenges, and I gave some examples of where we're really able to do a job, and the community's doing a job. But there's for example, the Greenbelt was and Parnell Park was very difficult because that's a population that local government has a really difficult time dealing with, and we need the state to get involved in that. And I'll talk about that. So we have these challenges, but then on the other hand, we have these really great things going on right now, and. For example, the Groves, the former Nelles Youth Authority facility. And that's a really big deal because we started in on that back in 2003. 2003, and here we are in 2019. And they turned dirt, about a year ago? And that's going to change. I'm so excited about it. I think, Christine, I told you this before. I think, in Remo, I said it before, it's going to change the west side of Whittier. And we had the lawsuit with the Conservancy, and even the judge talked about two Whittiers, East Whittier and West Whittier. And what the promise of the groves is, it will raise property values on the west side of Whittier because of the nature of it. And we'll have more equalization. And then it's right down the street from Uptown. And you can have all these people. I think those units can go from $300,000, $400,000 up to $900,000. So people can afford that. They have discretionary income, and they'll be able to go shop and restaurant hopping, etc. And you'll have that there at the Groves, but you'll also have it Uptown. So we have the Groves going on, and we've got some other development happening. That I was just up in Las Vegas at International Conference of Shopping Centers on Monday with Henry, and we met with the owners of all of our what I call our power centers, Whitwood, Quad, the Groves, and we met with John Sue, who owns Nixon Plaza Uptown, and he's got a major stake in Uptown. We met with him, so we had opportunity to talk about the vision and what they're looking for. And there's some really pretty cool stuff. So you got Uptown going, you've got the experiential. We have the centers going. Some changes are going to happen. So it's kind of like there's just a lot of really good stuff, but then we have our challenges. So that's kind of, I couldn't say all that this morning because there's only a certain amount of time. And I wanted to talk about, I just want to talk about what Whittier's all about, and that is connecting people. That's what you're doing here on the podcast. It's a different way of doing it. And some of the things that I just saw yesterday that gave me good heart, and the way people are connecting people to people and making changes in the lives of other people who are asking and need help. And that's the kind of community we are. That's one of the things that makes us different than a lot of communities, because we have a whole bunch of people who care. And so I wanted to talk about that this morning. So anyways, that's, I've just kind of given you the panoply or the potpourri.
The panoramic view of it all.
Exactly. So.
Well, is there any of those that you would like to go a little bit deeper on, and maybe?
Yeah, let's talk about the Groves and the promise of the Groves.
And I drive by the Groves every single morning.
Yeah.
And sometimes the doors kind of open because they have, and you see, me and my wife, we live in Mar Vista Heights, so I come down Mar Vista, go to Whittier Boulevard, and I see how big the hole is that they're excavating all this dirt, and it is impressive. I mean, they got some really beefy machinery.
Well, yeah, and Jeff Collier was showing us pictures today. They made 2 huge holes, and they've got huge concrete structures for stormwater. You saw the picture of it?
Yes.
And I didn't realize it. I get to tour it next week. I get to see it every 4, 5, 6 months just to see how it's changing.
Sure.
And they have stormwater retention, so that when water comes, it's not just discharged into the sewer and then goes down to Carson and gets treated and out to the ocean, but they actually hold it there, so they can then take it and disseminate it into the aquifer, the Central Basin, and some. So that's
and
all.
maybe that's what I seen, because I drive by and you can, as I'm driving, you kind of peek in for that split second, and it almost looks like a crater is in the middle of it.
Exactly, and down the bottom of this huge concrete structure, and there's 2 of those places now on that property. So the Groves is. I'm just really excited about it because, as I said, we started back in 2003, and I think I told you at one point in time, my experience is I used to do Bible study there at Fred C. Nell's.
Right.
And myself and a couple other guys, we would go every Monday night to the Hayes Cottage, which is back from the front all the way back almost to the hospital. It's a huge, it's 72 and a half acres. And so we'd walk through there, and I'd see what was going on, and we'd have Bible study with the guys, and some of the guys would get their act together, but most of them would end up, when they got out, in Chino, because they'd end up do other crimes. But every once in a while we'd have somebody who, so that place has always been near and dear to my heart. And the chapel's building, which is being renovated and saved, we once a month or once every other month, we'd have actually a Sunday night chapel program there. And do some singing and stuff like that, and to see how it's changed. He put some pictures up on the
Right.
today.
I think he said he's being converted into a community room that people can use as a community center.
Yeah,
Awesome.
totally cool. And the way they cleaned it out, it looks better today than when we were doing chapel services.
Than when it was first built, right?
Exactly. So, I mean, I'm really excited about it because you need to understand, between the price to purchase the property and all the improvements they're doing, they're going to spend over $300 million.
Right. They talked about that today as well.
$300 million. You know what that kind of, I mean, that's bigger than we can even comprehend. That has a multiplier effect in the community.
That's bringing the abundance to Whittier, right?
Exactly. And we wrote up the contract with Brookfield that basically said, hey, look, you're coming here and we want you here, and we're going to be partners, but part of our partnering is you need to hire Whittier people. And so there is a preference in the contract that basically says, hey, if you're doing something here, you're going to look at Whittier people who are qualified first. And the fencing around there was done by people involved here in Whittier. They have a security service.
Oh, that's great. You mean like local construction companies,
Yes.
local fencing companies? Oh,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
That's even better.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
that's
security
great.
company that's doing it is Whittier.
It's local. Oh,
So
that's awesome.
we had a big confab down at the Chamber of Commerce, I don't know, probably 2-3 months ago. And basically, Brookfield was there. And we had everyone who was local doing different types of things who were involved, providing cabling, providing specialized services for woodworking, or for shutters, and different types of stuff that you and I, we didn't even think about because I'm not in the business. But we had I don't know, over 50 people there, and they talked about how they would how to bid on the projects and all that kind of thing. So that was really cool. So that's so we have what we have is it's going to become an economic incubator and provide jobs, and so that's going to be in the process of building it. But then when it's built out, it's going to be totally awesome.
Yeah.
Totally awesome, because it's kind of almost a self-contained community. There'll be all kinds of walking, and that we're working on trying to get a pathway between the Groves and the hospital. The hospital is the largest. It's got not only the best health care, it's great health care, but on top of that, they're the largest jobs provider in this area.
Right.
So you got people who can live. You heard me say, live in Whittier, work in Whittier, shop in Whittier. They're going to live right there. They're going to be able to walk or take a jitney, little van thing, over to the hospital, and provide services, and they get well paid because it's health care. So I mean, it's almost like duh.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, it's obvious.
Can't get any better.
That's exactly right. And then we're working so hard on the Gold Line. Haven't talked about it yet, but again, the Gold Line to Whittier, to across the street from the hospital, that's going to bring anywhere you have transportation like that. I mean, it can be negative.
Yeah.
All right, it can bring in a certain element, but at the same time, if you manage it properly, it can be an absolute huge blessing. We saw that in Pasadena when they built the Gold Line over there, and they had all this TOD, transit-oriented development, along the line where the stops were, and the prices on those homes and condos and apartments were up because you don't have to drive.
Yeah.
Right.
People will pay more as a developer when there's other development that's being because of transportation.
Absolutely, and you don't
Especially the phase that we're going, where your Uber, where it's rideshare, and so less people or more people are using those. And if the alternative of taking the metro down to wherever you need to go, it almost creates that why you don't need a car as much, or you don't depend on a car.
Exactly, and I mean that's very green, and it's also one of the issues we have in Whittier is all the traffic. Well, it's not just Whittier; it's everywhere.
Right,
but
right.
People in Whittier seem to say it's Whittier.
Yeah.
Well, because this is a different type of. This is more traffic than like normal. In the last 5 years, it's like escalated.
It is. It has, and they're just not used to it, and I understand that. So anyway, the Nelles project, which we now call the Groves, is going to have great retail, great commercial. We were in I said in Las Vegas. We met with them on Monday, and of course they got Raising Cane's, and they got In-N-Out.
Oh yeah, people are so excited about In-N-Out on this podcast. Let me tell you.
No, In-N-Out. Are you kidding me? There's a whole history to In-N-Out in Whittier. and how it was supposed to be here previously, and there were some decisions made that really hacked off some people, including In and Out. And so we're getting a second shot at it, basically. So it's really cool.
And growing up, I always thought we had one because one in Santa Fe Springs is
It's
just
right down the street.
outside.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's close, but it
Yeah.
ain't the real deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really. And then if you're in West Whittier, there's one on Whittier Boulevard in Pico
Pico
Rivera.
But that's Pico. We want to live
Exactly.
in
I
Whittier, work
hear
in
you.
Whittier, and shop in
I hear
Whittier,
you,
okay?
Joe.
Yeah. So that's they've got. I think LA Fitness will be coming. Looks like I'm not sure, but looks like maybe Stater Brothers.
In regards to the housing that's going to be at the Groves development, is it primarily, like I saw that there was a multi-unit for family housing, but there's also like senior living facilities. Is that correct?
Yeah, for over 55, it's not senior, dear. We
Oh,
call it
sorry.
active adults.
Oh, yes.
Because I fit the active adult
Okay.
category.
Okay. Fair enough. Sorry.
They're going to have two offerings. They will have they're basically homes. They're attached and detached, and they will have amenities downstairs, so that you don't have to walk up the stairs to sleep and all that. And if you want to have your office upstairs, you can do that. When you get active adult, sometimes the knees start to kind of wobble on you a little bit, so you don't want to be going up and down. So they're building a whole, I think, 85 units that are basically will be regular units, but they have all the amenities downstairs. So they'll be for the active adult, and they'll have a little club area and I think a putting green and some
that's nice.
jacuzzi and stuff like that. So a private area, and then there's going to be a 4-story building that is family, but it's also active adult, where you are basically living on one level, and you have an elevator, so you don't have to go up and down stairs, and that'll be right across from where the food hall area is going to be. And where a lot of stuff's going to happen, so that'll be for active adults also. So that'll be really nice. So those are the offerings for the active adults, and then you'll have detached houses, and you'll have attached houses, and you'll have row houses, and then you'll have apartments.
Wow.
So it'll hit, it's multi-generational.
Yeah, there's so many people that already, whenever What's Up Whittier will post, people say, "Oh, do you know anything about houses for sale? Is there a wait list? Do you know about anything about that?"
They have not done that yet.
Okay.
They will. The part of real estate, you can only put out a waiting
much.
list so
Yeah.
far in advance. So that'll be coming. And Brookfield's got a website, and I actually entered into it, and so I get updates from them. But it gives me Brookfield stuff from other places in LA, and I don't really care about that. I just care about Whittier.
Just
So,
goes Whittier,
yeah, exactly. So
How
you can
many
do that.
How many units are expected to go in their housing units?
There's a total of 750.
750.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of housing, and boy, I'll tell you, when you talk about housing, you think about the traffic and all that. So we've done a lot of mitigation. They're paying a lot of money. We're getting over, I think, $1 million for traffic mitigation in and around the area for Whittier Boulevard, Sorensen. And then at the same time, we've got a deal going with Gateway Cities COG, Council of Governments, where they have these hotspot intersections you heard about this morning, where they're looking at how can we streamline them, how can we make a right turn lane a little bit further out, how can we synchronize the signals and all that kind of stuff. So that'll be going on with the Groves development also. So we'll have that going, and there's trying to remember, $750 or $1 million of monies that will go into library and parks and that. So I mean, plus we'll be getting $1 million a year in sales tax, property tax, and a fee that different people who live there will be paying on an annual basis, so as to be able to pay the city of Whittier for all the services we're going to provide, as well as police and the like. So it's just, all I can tell you is I can see it. That's going to be there. What that's going to do is that's going to launch a redevelopment along Whittier Boulevard.
Sure.
It's going to launch a redevelopment up Philadelphia. It's going to go right into Uptown, and Uptown's poised right now to take off also. And when you have that many people who have that amount of discretionary income, and the big thing I didn't talk about today, but I'm just a big believer in a people mover. And whether,
yes.
Yeah, whether it's an autonomous vehicle, driverless, or what, we're not quite sure. We're watching it, but we're going to be doing a study, and what we're looking at is maybe a route that starts up at Whittier College on Painter, comes down Philadelphia through the Uptown, past Whittier High School, past the dog park, into the Groves, around the Groves, just towards the front, then back down Whittier Boulevard to Washington into the hospital, and around the hospital, then maybe out Lambert, all the way out to Santa Gertrudis, and Santa Gertrudis, up Santa Gertrudis into
The Whitwood.
the Whitwood,
Very cool.
and then down Whittier Boulevard to the Quad, through the Quad, and then back to Painter, and up Painter, back up to the college.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
It would be really cool. That way, it's keep it low cost, keep it really clean, keep it right on time, and people just jump on and jump off, and that way you don't have to get in your car. So I think that goes a long way to ameliorating some of the issues relative to traffic. And once again, I would say live in Whittier, work in Whittier, shop in Whittier. If you want to go somewhere, if you want to go to Dodger Stadium or Angel Stadium, you want to go downtown LA, you want to go down to Orange County, fine. Get in your car, go to 605, go to the 57, whatever. But we should be in a position here where we basically have everything we need right here. You don't need to get in your car unless you're going to go some distance away.
Joe,
Awesome.
and something like that, would that be more of a bus, of some sort of vehicle, some sort of?
Some kind of jitney.
Okay.
They have something going on down in Mission Viejo with Mercedes, and they have Mercedes vans. I think there are 8 or 10 passengers, something like that, and they drive around the community on a regular basis. They have they go one shopping trip to Newport Beach and come back, and so we're going to look at that, and we'll look at some others, and we're going to get some money to study and put together basically a people mover kind of idea. So that'll be, I'm excited about that.
Cool. Well, let's stay on the topic of transportation.
Sure.
So we had some questions submitted via our Instagram. So shout out to everybody who submitted on Instagram. And one question that we had, and we did touch on it a little bit, but maybe if we can talk a little bit more, and we did mention it this morning, what is being done to promote Whittier getting the Gold Line extension? So I know that Montebello passed, something with the Metro that they would allow it to come down. Or if you can talk a little bit more about that. And then also there was like a call to action this morning, if you could talk about that.
Yeah, what we have is getting the Gold Line extension. It's called the East Side Extension. And the question is, does it come, it stops right now in East Los Angeles and by the 60 freeway. And the question is, does it come down further down the 60 freeway through Montebello, over the freeway by the new Monterey, Town Center, across the freeway by the huge, I forget the name of the landfill there, but it's a toxic waste site.
Through El Monte, right?
No, this is right down
By their town center.
Town Center, yeah.
okay.
And then it goes back over to Montebello Mall, and then has to go into Whittier Narrows, which is the Corps of Engineers, and then stops down in South El Monte. Does it come that way, or does it stay in East Los Angeles and then come down? I forget.
Washington?
Third.
It's
Beverly?
it's going to be underground. This is what happens. I'm not on this.
No, I hear you.
I'm not on this subcommittee. It comes down and goes past the Citadel, and then past the Commerce Casino, and then
That's Washington, I think.
Yeah, and then Washington Boulevard.
Or Slauson.
All the way, it's Washington, all the way to Whittier. And the question is, which way is it going to go? Where right now, Metro has said, well, we're comfortable with both. Well, the reality is, we're talking billions of dollars.
Yes,
There's really going to be probably one route, and the question is, who's going to get that route? What makes the most sense in terms of light rail and moving people? And the stats are really clear that Washington Boulevard is the preferred route because it's going to be able to handle more people. I'm going to show you my bias, but down the 60 freeway, I think it becomes more like a park and ride situation where people get off the 60 and then get on and go that way. So that's not really what this is all about. So we have a subcommittee, which is Fernando and Henry. And we started the subcommittee many years ago. I mean, it was myself and Owen, newcomer. And then it morphed and became myself and Fernando, and then it became Fernando and Henry. And so the subcommittee is working with what we call the Washington Boulevard Coalition. And this is where your listeners can really be of help. The coalition is made up of different people in the communities along the Washington Boulevard extension route. That would be people in Whittier, people in Santa Fe Springs, people in Pico Rivera, hasn't happened yet, but Montebello, and then of course East Los Angeles. And so that group is in existence, and what they're doing is they're putting together materials. They go to Metro meetings and weigh in and with public comments. And so right now they're in the process of doing the EIR. And it's a huge undertaking, because you can imagine for that far with those many communities and those many, it's a portion of it will be underground, a portion of it will then come out, and it'll be it'll be at grade on Washington Boulevard. But there's might be a couple of spots where it goes, aerial. So they're doing that, and that once you have the EIR, then apparently Metro Board is going to make a decision as to which it should be. We're working, and guys, here's the deal. This is government.
Yeah.
We always have a big fight here, because Metro, we pay a lot of money in sales tax to Metro, and you can look at the stats, but it's really clear that much of that money ends up on the west side of Los Angeles because of politics and who's on the Metro Board and that. So we made a lot of stink about the fact that, look at, you going to do another sales tax increase? No, we're against it because of the fact that the reality is that money's going to get over there. And so, in fact, this area, this region chose not to vote, support it. And so but it passed, so the issue becomes, well, how are we going to get those dollars here? So there's a lot of lobbying that goes on. There's a lot of, you have to look at the merits of the situation, but the reality is we're looking at 2028. That's like 9 years from now. And the idea is to try to have something ready for the Olympics. And so we're all ready to go on our part, but they're going through the AR process, and the Washington Boulevard Coalition's doing their thing. So your listeners can help out by being members of the Washington Boulevard Coalition and be called on to go to meetings. They haven't had any demonstrations or anything, but writing letters and stuff like that. So that's a really big deal. I mean, I'm going to be gone. I won't be involved when that comes. This is all about your generation. Well, I mean, it's my generation too. In fact, if it were there now, I mean, I do work downtown LA in court. And do I really enjoy driving down there? No. Would I take the Gold Line if it was there? Heck yeah. But this is going to benefit those who are coming after us. But if we're not diligent and following through on it now, it'll never be.
Joe, do you think that 2028 is a realistic time frame when it comes to, if it comes out through Washington?
Well, it's government, and all you can do is you push. And it's squeaky wheel gets the grease. We're squeaking a lot. I know I've talked to Eric Garcetti. He's familiar with our concerns out here, and he's a mover and shaker. Janice Hahn on the board is a very strong for us. So we have some things going, and we're going to stay with it. I think 2028, I wouldn't hold my breath, but let's go for it.
Yeah,
let's go for it. So that's where the Gold Line extension is.
Cool, thank you.
Joe, we have another question from Instagram, and it is, how important is nutrition to you and why?
And this comes from Sophia over at The Whole Child.
Really? Well, nutrition's a big deal. I got to be honest with you. I like to eat, and I like good food, but I also I try to watch what I eat. I mean, my doctor a long time ago told me, he says, don't eat anything that's white sugar, white bread, white rice, because of starch and sugar. And that was really good advice. So I try to do that, although I admit I cheat. But I try to run every day. And I just enjoy running. And whether it be on a treadmill or down the Greenway Trail. I see a lot of people on the Greenway. And so I try to run 2 or 3 miles. And what it does for me, it helps the heart. It also helps the head. And it gives me a chance just to wind down and think about stuff. And some of my thinking that I do for city council is done on the Greenway Trail. So nutrition and exercise, I wouldn't say just nutrition, but it's nutrition and exercise.
Sure.
They work hand in hand, and they're very, very important.
Okay, well, and that leads us to the next question that you brought up, which is some food. One of the questions is, what are the best tacos in Whittier?
And that question did come from a taco truck. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I have to be really careful about this because I don't really favor, I try to go to as many restaurants as possible, and there's a lot of really good food in Whittier.
Yeah.
A lot of really good food. There's different places. One of the places I like is Puffy's Tacos. Really horrible for your nutrition, but they're
Deep fried tacos.
Yeah.
Oh, love it. On Leffingwell.
Yes, they're Mexican style. They're really or Tex-Mex style.
Yeah.
Was it Bazaar Capital?
Yeah.
Classic.
Is really good. Baja Tacos, they're really good too. So if you're doing the nutrition thing, just disregard everything I just said.
Well, I think you can have grilled fish tacos from Baja.
Fish is okay.
Yeah,
Fish is okay. It's all the stuff you dump on it. So,
Yeah,
and who
absolutely.
am I to be talking? So anyway.
So I submitted this question because we were talking a little earlier before we started recording, and you also mentioned it today at State of the City that this is supposed to be a part-time job, but you only got to do your work on your law practice one day this week, and that's not even counting. You went to Las Vegas, right, for that conference. You contribute so much of your time, and I want to thank you for that.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
So what made you want to become a public servant and serve the community in this way?
So I grew up here,
Right.
and I grew up in a political family, and my mom and dad were very involved in the Republican Party, and my mom helped run Republican headquarters and Republican Women, and so I learned about. We used to talk about issues and different issues and different viewpoints, and so I got thinking that maybe someday, Lord willing. Right place and right time, that maybe I would get into office, because the bottom line is I had a great upbringing here in Whittier, and I've raised my family here, and it was a great upbringing for them. And so it's kind of like my time to give back. I'm giving back more than I have in the past, but it's my time to do that. And so I have opportunity to make strong and lasting change. I mean, my big deal is I want families. I want kids to be able to live in this community and have a good education, people caring about each other, opportunities that they would have, and that this would be a safe place for raising family and a safe place to live as a senior. And that's what Whittier's always been. And even though the world seems to be spinning so crazy right now, and there's so much stupid rhetoric from all sides.
Well, with social media, it's constant, right?
It is, and that's my problem with social media is there's no responsibility. I mean, you can say whatever you want, and there's no accountability. And people can say stuff that's absolutely not true. They can defame people. Say things, and there's no accountability, and that's just not right. You don't say things unless it's true, and if you got a problem with someone else, you don't go out and say all kinds of stuff. I mean, I was always taught, and I still believe this day, if I got a problem with somebody, I need to go talk to them.
That's the only way it's going to get solved.
Yeah,
It's not.
absolutely.
It's just
Exactly.
There's
So
no
Creates more
resolution.
conflict, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And there are people, I think, who just enjoy that. Well, that's not where my head's at. It's not productive. It's not good for our people. So my big deal about being, and we went off on a side
Sorry, we don't. Yeah,
tangent,
tangent. My bad.
but I just, it's really important that families, and we have lots of families coming to Whittier, and to a T, I will talk to them, and they're younger families, and they'll say, we've always wanted to come to Whittier because we like the schools, we like the homes that are here, we like the vibe, and that vibe is safety, security, people caring about each other, looking out for each other. We have so many churches here, and there's a net here, I think, among churches that that people look out for each other. And you don't have to be a member of the church, but what's taught is look out for other people. You know, do unto others as you would do unto
yourself.
Yeah, the golden rule. I mean, so I think that's, for me, that's why I do this. And, you know, I'm not going to do this forever, that's for darn sure. But I have the opportunity to make it to be the best that we can right now, and we're going to make the most of it. And then, you know, it's time for new people to come in and take over. So that's what public service, in my view, is all about.
Right. I agree.
And earlier you said that with government, all you could do is push, push, push. Is there maybe projects that you would like to see happen here in the city that haven't gotten some traction that that you would like to maybe talk about and hope to see in the future?
Well, there's a number of them. I mean, with government, it's just so slow.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got on in 2006, I thought, you know what, you're just going to push this thing along and push it along. And I did, to the extent I could. But I mean, it takes 3 votes when you're on a council of 5. And so you got to be careful you don't get hung up in the bureaucracy with so many different things going on. But at the same time, you can move so much that you lose track. And so you just got to keep pinpointed on those things that are most important to you. So with that in mind, things that are really important to me is the library and making sure that we take that library. It's an asset that's become a wasting asset because the monies have not been there to keep it up and to just do all the things that we need to do to keep it safe.
And we said it was $14 million today, and I
Yes.
believe there's a little over $3 million in the fund.
We have a little over $3 million, and there's probably some other monies we can cobble together. So we're working on that. And you know, we did the bond, and we lost, and that was going to be $25 million for redoing the library and the parking and everything. This is just to take care of the bones of the library.
So if we have any angels out there,
Yeah,
You know?
and we're working hard, and we've got different ideas and that. So we'll see. But that's one of the things that I feel very strongly about. I mean, I use that library as a kid.
Yep.
My kids use that library in the summer reading program. I was in the summer reading program. So, I mean, we owe it. And when I talk about generational stuff and talk about the next generation, families coming here, that's one of the things that gets talked about all the time is the
Absolutely.
library. We have a wonderful library, and staff, Paimani and her staff are just awesome. So that's a real treasure. So that's something I want to see done. Uptown, and we're working Uptown, and sometimes, you know, Uptown is how should I say it? It's uptown and downtown.
Sure.
It's uptown and downtown. And I think over time, you're going to see the city's putting money into it. We have the Improvement Association that's there. People are taking responsibility. And to me, I keep saying it, I really do believe it. It's a gem in the rough. And it's just a matter of time. And I think with some of the changes that the city's doing with the paseos and the streetscape, with the parking structure, I mean, we have a good problem right now. On Friday and Saturday nights, you can't find a place to park.
Right.
Well, you know what? That's supply and demand. So we need to meet that demand with some parking supply, and we will be doing that. But on the other days, there's got to be stuff that's going on, creativity. And, you know, I'm a big believer in the free market, and I think you get the advent of good restaurants, and we get some really niche retailing in. I often use it, I don't know if they're still there, but I often use the example of if you're a model railroader, there was in Culver City, I forget what the name of it was, but I kind of like trains, and there was a family over there that built a building that looked like LA Union Station, and they had trains coming around the ceiling and all that stuff.
Cute.
And if you're a model railroader in Southern California, that's where you hang out. And so I'd love to see, you know, niche businesses, and we do have a couple already uptown.
Yeah.
I'd like to see us bring some more niche businesses, and between that and the restaurants, I think Uptown takes off, especially with all the disposable income that's coming in at the groves.
Right.
So we have that, and then if you got the people mover thing going, you got people out in East Whittier. They don't have to get in their car, and they're going to hear about the great restaurants. The big issue, of course, Uptown is safety, but I think it's actually pretty darn safe.
Me too.
I think a lot of it is perception, but we have the team that's there now who are out and are helping people around, but they're keeping their eyes
The
on
Electo
things.
ambassadors.
Exactly. And the police department watches Uptown pretty closely. I mean, I don't want to tell what they do, but they're there and they're watching. And there's things going on Uptown. And, because there is some drug stuff that has happened in some alleys and that. And they have a handle on that, and they're watching that. So I think Uptown is actually pretty darn good, but I can see it with the changes and things we're doing being even much better. So I want to see Uptown. I want to see, library, and there's a couple other things, the Groves, you name it.
Joe, do you see housing coming to Uptown? Is
I
that
do.
something in the horizon?
I do. We're going to be doing, the Alpha Beta lot. And we have to decide that's got to be some housing. Excuse me. It's got to be some housing. I'm not quite sure what it is or what it looks like. But we know that Uptown, the economics, excuse me, the economics are such that when you have demand, then supply is going to come along to meet it. When you have supply and demand in equilibrium, then the prices of the rents go up. So if you have more people living up there and going to those shopping places, then what's going to happen is the whole thing's going to come up. It's the rising tide raises all ships. So I think Uptown, I see some housing going on, but you have to be real selective and smart about it. So yeah.
And with the housing, I think it brings it adds to the safety component, because if you have a lot more people living here, walking their dogs at night, they're kind of shooing away that element that sometimes puts its head up every so often here.
Yeah, they'll be looking out because they have a vested interest. That's where they live.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, Christine, I know we're getting the
Yeah, I know.
gotta go finger.
I was giving you and the mayor the finger today. But do you have? I know that you're on social media and you've been pretty active, which is awesome. Where can people follow you if you have that info?
You know what? I'm trying to think. What is this?
Or I'll just put it in. Actually, I put it in the thing.
Did you?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah. How dumb of me. I mean, it's.
No, it's Mayor Joe Vinatieri, right?
Yeah, I think
Or
that's
something
what,
like that.
that's what it is.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll copy and paste it in the link below.
Yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I what I try to do on Facebook, and we'll be going into Twitter here shortly, but on the Facebook, what I try to do is highlight different things that I do that are positive, that are good, and we have so many things happening. As the mayor, I get to go to lots of events and just talk about what I see there. And I've got some stuff from last night that I haven't posted yet, for example. When the Chinese delegation was here last week,
Right, new sister city.
Yeah, this is Friendship City.
Oh, Friendship City.
And yeah, it's the hometown of Chairman Mao Zedong, and of course we're the hometown of President Richard M. Nixon. So that's a really big deal. We're going to be bringing some tourism. There are a number of people who come from China, and they want to go to the Nixon Library, and they want to see the hometown. We'll have them stay at the Doubletree and the library, they'll go to the museum and go to Whittier High School, and they'll go up to Whittier College, and they'll see the president's home out in East Whittier. And so so I try to highlight, we have so much good things, good stuff going on here that people just don't realize. And all the negativity that goes on and all the noise, I want to highlight, once again, it's not to say that we don't have some challenges. We do. But there's so much more really good stuff that's going on than I think meets the eye, and people don't know. So one of my responsibilities, is to let people know you have these opportunities, and you know what? By golly, this is a darn good place to live and raise your family.
Yeah. Amen.
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 Alrighty, and so with that, thank you so much,
Thank you,
Mayor Joe, for being on. We really appreciate your support.
Absolutely. Yeah. All I can say is, what's up?
What's up?
All the time. All the time here.
All right. Bye, Whittier.
All right, bye. Thank you.